Hey, how are you guys? Thanks for joining the stream. So because it's the weekend, there's no particular subject at hand. It'll be random things, and I'll spend most of my time doing the Q&A, answering questions. So first thing, let me know where you're from. Say hello from Hawaii, hello from Chicago, hello from Nigeria, hello from wherever you happen to be. It's always interesting, I think, for everybody concerned, especially me. So once again, give me a like if you like the content, if you like the stream. How much should I charge for a Discard bot? First paid project ever. It will be hosted on my own server, $5 a month server. I don't know. How long is it going to take you to... That's an interesting question. On your own server, I figure you'd be writing a Discord bot for somebody else. I don't know. Have you done any work before? Is this your first paid job? If it is, maybe you want to do it just for free to get some free publicity out of it. I'm not sure. I couldn't say. How much time are you going to spend? Is it going to be a 2-hour job? Is it going to be a 10-minute job? Good evening, Stef. I was wondering, what do you think of editors like Vim and Emacs? Some people really love them. Editors are like cars. Some people like Porsche, some people like Ford, some people like BMW, etc. It depends on, try them out. If you prefer them, use them, you know. It's no big deal. Everybody's got their own preference. Hey, Ty, how are you? Yeah. Good evening from Lakeland, Florida. Hey, Kevin, how are you? All right, what's going on? When am I turning 170? I've hit the ceiling. 169 is the maximum age that human beings can, that's maximum age. So I think from there, I'm in a holding pattern for the next several decades. Hey, JC, how are you, man? Good evening, Steph. I was wondering, what do you think of editors like Vim? I just answered that one. Clock stops after 169. Exactly, Ty understands. Hey, Algeria, very good. Mr. Eyeballs, how are you? Sweet, hello world. Another one, 169, yeah, 169. It's, you have to watch many of my streams to figure out how I got there, but it's definitely, I'm proof. Hello, hey from New York, from Mars. Hello from Bosnia, very good. 1 a.m. Stefan stream for the win. Oh, sure, it's pretty late for you guys. Well, thanks for joining the stream. Let me open up with a few things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you, people ask me common questions about recommended books and so forth. So let me just jump into recommended books. And then links below for some of these books. I'll put the rest of the links later. So there's going to be some tech books and some non-tech books. So if you're new to the channel, I do both technology, education, business, psychology, etc. Having lived on this earth for 169 years gives me a perspective on things that you may not have otherwise. So let me just jump into my other camera. So book number 1 I recommend is really off topic. It's called The Naked Ape. So a zoologist study of the human animal. So basically these couple of zoologists, I think it was written in the 60s. This is my copy when I bought when I was like a pretty young guy. I kept it, yellow pages, right? Anyway, these two zoologists apply a zoological technique to study humans. It's very interesting. Very interesting. It will help you understand yourself, help you interact with people a little bit more effectively. So I would highly recommend this book here. The Naked Ape, that's one book. So for you guys who are a little bit more advanced and you want to get into more advanced management, operations. So this is a handbook for game changers, visionaries, business model generation. So essentially this book helps you to look at software development, building applications and solutions, and it really helps you to understand the process of doing this. So this is like architectural level kind of stuff. People have been asking about doing architecture. So I'll put links below after the stream for these two books. So this is one you might want to do if you want to get into the entrepreneurial stuff. Again, Naked Ape for understand human condition. Very cool. So if you are a developer with some ability and experience, I recommend this book, Refactoring. This is the Java version. I have links below to a JavaScript and Java version Highly recommend if you want to level up your coding game. All right. And if you're a total beginner to development, you can check out my book. It's on HTML5 and CSS3, and I touch on other subjects. And it's on Amazon, of course, and it's for total beginners. So you got to be a total beginner. And see, if you take high-res screenshots, you won't need to buy the book. But anyway, so it's in there. It's good basic book on web design and the foundation of web development as well. So this is my book. So there you go. There are the books. I thought you guys would find that interesting. We'll go back to a little bit Q&A. So give me a thumbs up if you like my little iPhone model for showing alternative views. That's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. So yeah, let me go on. Okay, we got a guy from Mars here, from Algeria, Belize, Argentina, San Diego. Very cool. Would you ever do a Java course? I've been thinking about it for a while, but before I even think about like putting time into a Java course, I don't really need to because they're very effective, but I want to do some updates to some of the things I have now. I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to take care of that first. Hello from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Hey, Mohammed Amir Azmi. All right, thanks for joining the stream, dude. Cool name, by the way. South Africa, very good. Deferral of gratification and low time preferences equals key. Yeah, exactly. Deferral gratification is very important. Very important. One basic tactic is just reducing availability of that which might you might do too much in excess of. So, for example, I'll show you a class example. I'm usually pretty good with my dietary habits, but there's one thing that I'm addicted to. It's not alcohol, it's not drugs, it's not gambling. The one thing that Stef is addicted to is Ritz. So I rarely have Ritz in my house, maybe once every 2 months. Because I bought this box of Ritz about 2 hours ago. Already empty. So yeah, you want to avoid anything in your house that you can't control yourself. So if you can't control yourself on anything, avoid it. Just take it out of the availability. Hey, Christy, how are you? Uzbekistan, wow, that's very cool. Hi from Nova Scotia. I have to tell you, I'm always surprised when I hear from people from Uzbekistan and Afghanistan, Iraq. I think it's great. I think it's cool, but I have to admit it surprises me. Hi from Nova Scotia. Why are? A good question there. Is Delphi worth learning? It's a demand around my area, but it's ancient. Yeah, Delphi is really old. It's always driven by demand. Everything is driven by demand. So if you like Delphi and there is a demand in your area, then why not do it? But be careful because Delphi is so old, you don't want to write Delphi for 5 years and then you find there's no more Delphi. Delphi is one of those very old languages that I would be a little bit concerned about vis-a-vis it going away. People get a little bit too... Let me turn on my light here. Hold on. There we go. People get a little bit too concerned about that, I find. So, but Delphi is one of those exceptions where you got to be careful about that. So maybe do it for a short time, get some experience, but it is old. Sven, do you have to know French if doing web dev in Canada? No, except for Quebec. In Quebec, a lot of companies you're going to need to know some French. The rest, Canada, no. I have called Canadian companies before, and the voice requirements are always in French and English. Yeah, in Quebec, French is almost a must, especially if you're coming over from another country, immigrating here. In other parts of Canada, it's not a must. Canada is a bilingual country, but some areas are very French, like Quebec, and other areas like Toronto, Vancouver. These are west of Quebec. They're much less French, but still French. Halek K. Thanks for joining the stream. All right, let's go on. How should one have gone through a Udacity nanodegree position themselves on the job market? How should one who has gone through? look at a previous video, I have the 7 steps. So you're going to see a big 7 in the thumbnail of how to get a job. Let's watch that. Brett, camera traveler. Oh, very cool. Hello from Los Angeles. Your thoughts on what characteristics of coding would be largely done with AI tools within 5 years, and what characteristics do you think will take much longer than 5 years? Hey, that's a very good question. Generally speaking, AI is very good for pattern matching. So in software development, maybe quickly generating UIs might be the first thing that you would see AI tackle. I don't see AI replacing any major parts of development in the next 10 years. What I see it doing is enhancing productivity and assisting in functions, but definitely not replacing. There's just too much complexity involved, too much abstraction, especially as you get into higher level software development. I think the AI scare vis-a-vis replacing developers is a long way away. Like, I wouldn't be surprised it takes 25, 30 years. Could be wrong, but that's what I think. It's based on people I know who are in the game. How much demand for machine learning engineers in your country? There's quite a bit. Montreal, where I am, is one of the world's leaders in AI. Apparently one of the fathers of AI, actually, he developed all this stuff just a few blocks from me at McGill University. And so Google is up here, Facebook is up here, Microsoft is here. Facebook and Google are building facilities, as far as I understand. It's all very much AI related. So there's a lot of AI opportunity in Montreal. There's no question about that. The Y170 bug, that's true. Why do we obsess over what language to use? Only young, inexperienced developers or learning developers who are influenced by inexperienced YouTubers are obsessed over languages. It's an illusion to be obsessed. You shouldn't be. Seems like a problem solving is better skills to have focus on. Exactly. Languages, programming languages, are just tools that you use to solve problems. Whether you do it in JavaScript or Python or Java or C# or C++ or not Ruby, it doesn't matter. What really matters is your problem-solving skills, your architectural skills, your refactoring skills, design patterns, also design patterns. Those are language agnostic. They're language neutral. So, for example, what do I mean by that? This is a book that's on refactoring, which is a process of cleaning up and simplifying, optimizing code. This will, if you're like a beginner, intermediate coder, this will take you to 2 or 3 steps higher in record time in terms of your ability to write really good code. Anyway, this book is written in Java. All the examples are, hold on. Here we go. So all the examples are Java-based. I don't know if you can see. So they're Java-based, but the principles are exactly the same. Let's see if we can do this. All right, try it out. All right, so all the examples are Java-based. So this is Java, very basic stuff. But the principles, the refactoring principles, are applicable to all languages. Doesn't matter whether it's Java. So here's the basic strategy. They diagram it. They give you the motivation, discussion, the mechanics. This is all universal. It's applicable to any language. So you get this Java-based one. You get the Java-based one, and it will work for Python, it'll work for JavaScript, although they do have a JavaScript version. There's a link to it, but it'll work for Python, C++, C#, what have you. It's the principles that matter. And so the languages are, they're just tool sets. So, and it's often in professional careers, you will be writing software in many different languages over time. Even in a single project, you could be writing software in at least 2 if not 3 languages. It depends on the circumstances. So when people are all concerned about, you should learn this language or that language, it's a bit clickbaity. It's also, if they really believe that, they're junior developers that are telling you that. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't have any experience or much in the industry. You may find yourself, for example, just writing Java your entire career. I know people have done that. But I think the majority of developers will find themselves jumping around different languages over time based on project demand and market demands. So you are right, 100%, sir. So Kevin, so far as a comment of the evening. Yeah. What do you think about Upwork and TopTotal as a platform? I haven't used them, but just try them out, test them out, see if it's good for you. I got a couple of projects to show off in my portfolio, but most of them I've done working for a company and I can't share the code. Is that right? Some others are kind of duplicates similar to. Well, you can't share the code, but you can share, unless you have an NDA or something, non-disclosure agreement, you can definitely share the projects. You can discuss the projects, take a nice screenshot if you can, and maybe describe the type of coding you did in that project. I think that would be more than sufficient. Which is best, Bootstrap or Foundation? I couldn't compare. I have never used Foundation. I would lean towards Bootstrap since it's just much more widely used. You must have a lot of books since the internet is only 50 years old. That's exactly it. No, back in the day, all joking aside, so I started coding in the early 90s. And the internet was there. It was just starting. But at the time, Bill Gates famously said that the internet was just some sort of fad. It was going to fade away. It was not important in the end. That was an interesting comment. And the internet was not nearly as robust as it is today. People don't realize how fortunate you are in today's day and age in terms of the internet. We can do live streams, 4K streaming, live interact with somebody who's been developing for decades. I didn't have that advantage when I was coding. I was like one of the few, I was out in the sea. I was a single island in the sea, if you will. Not many other people, although I had a lot of nerd friends around me, but the way we got information was you had to buy books. So I would spend $3,000 to $4,000 a year in the money from those days. So that today would be worth about $30,000, $40,000 a year. Just kidding. But it would be worth maybe $5,000, $6,000 a year or more in books, tech books, learning different languages and refactoring and design patterns and all these things I recommend and much more. But to me, it was a worthwhile investment because I figured, you make a lot of money as a developer. If you spend $3,000 a year to up your skills, that's nothing, right? And all businesses will send their people to training. They'll spend a lot more on them. Does college teach programming? Yes, it does. It depends. Some programs are better than others. Hey, Hologram, how are you? Yeah, he knows the official channel salute. This is the nerd salute. You got to have a secret handshake. Left, right. If you can do double guns, that shows high-level nerd skills. So there you go. Your eyes look 169 years old. You see the wisdom, right? Hello world, hello, how are ya? Plus online game does probably just do hobby projects and fall. Okay, so started your web dev course 2 days ago on CSS already. So happy with my decision to purchase the course. Also, as MMA practitioner and drummer myself. Oh, that's very cool. Wow, that's a rare combination. It's so cool to hear your analogies in relation to code. Very cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Haley, or thanks, ma'am. I'm not sure. Your photo is a woman. Your name, I guess Haley's a woman's name. If I misgendered you, my apologies. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I learned how to drum because I was a martial artist, and fighting is all about timing. And when you can drum well, you have very good timing, and that transfers into combat. In the striking arts, at least. Anyway, that's why I did the drumming. Hello, world. Are you a noob or something? Hello, sir. I'm 17 years old and a JavaScript full-stack developer. Very cool. And I have a work now, but I am still in high school, grade 12. Do I need to go to college, or should I learn more and hone my skills? Well, you should learn more and hone your skills, first of all. I don't know what country you're from, so I don't know if college is free or not. If it's free and inexpensive, and you may want to go work for a very large organization, then doing college, you're still quite young, very young. You just started. Why not? If you're going to go into debt, then I would very much think, don't do it, because college debt is non-dischargeable through bankruptcy. And that means that if you go bankrupt, you can't go bankrupt to get rid of the debt. It's like a form of debt slavery. So yeah, don't go into debt if you can't discharge the debt, the school debt. That's my advice. If you want to be an entrepreneur, that's really what you see. You don't see yourself wanting to work for another company, then college is a waste of time. So there you go. Hope that answers your questions. Oh, by the way, let me show you this. Is it Boat? Is it Epoch Times? Hold on a second. I'm trying to find. Okay, no. Desktop. So yeah, here it is. So we started a Discord, I don't know, 6 days ago. We got over 700 members. So link is below. I invite you to join. Still working on this. I'm a Discord noob, so I'm still learning how to implement this properly. So I invite you. There's a link right below this video. Right now you can join the Discord. We have 700 people. There's 126 people online as we speak there. And we're going to be expanding this more and more, get to meet other developers and people training and development. So there you go. So I invite you to check out my Discord channel below. Links below. We'll see if anybody joins. Oh, hold on. See if anybody joins real time. You'll appear here. We'll jump back to that. All right. So let's get back to it. Sorry, just getting the questions in shape. All right. Whoa. I've only gotten one job on Upwork. That's all right. Just keep working at it. Put up a good website. Keep working on your skills. Keep reaching out to people. Great recommendations on books. Thanks. Hey, no problem, Sean. Yeah. I'll be doing more. I've gotten rid of most of my tech books because back in the days, the tech books from the 90s for the most part are too dated, and from even early 2000s. So I got rid of 99.9% of them. All right, we had a couple people join the Discord. That's cool. Thanks for joining. So yeah, I'll be doing more book reviews. I'll be bringing more books to your attention that you might find interesting. Your sound is great. No more white knives. Yeah, that was the other mic. The other mic I was using, it's a good mic. It required a lot more gain, and my camera here didn't have the gain. This mic doesn't require it, so boom. I have a whole bunch of mics in the closet. Is learning to code better still worth the work due to automation? Of course it is. Coding it's a superpower that you can give yourself. Even if your goal is to maybe start a business, get into management, understanding code is going to give you tremendous benefits in your entire life, even if you don't write code. I'll give you an example. So a good friend of mine has a multi-million-dollar travel business, and I went to lunch with him, and he said that one of the most valuable skills he picked up was just learning basic HTML and CSS, so that he could, in the early days, tweak his website after he had it built, but also because he was able to understand how developers think, and he was able to better assess software development and so forth, which helped him throughout the years with his business. So yes, learning to code is like a superpower, and automation is not going to take away coding for the foreseeable future. So I always recommend everybody learn to code. I learned to code to build a website for my first business, and I continued learning to code because I just saw it as a powerful tool set. It was like Lego blocks for me. It was like learning to be able to craft and sculpture applications. I really I saw the utility of that. So don't let it go. Newark, New Jersey. What books do you recommend to learn psychology? I would check out my courses. I have a psych course that I put together a few months back called Lizard Wizard. It's got a silly title, links below, but it's pretty profound, and you learn why I call it Lizard Wizard when you do the book. So that's a great introduction. It's very practical and pragmatic course. Beyond that, there's several authors. I should bring them out. Kahneman is one of the seminal figures. Daniel Kahneman. He wrote a very important book, one of the most important books written in history, called Thinking Fast and Slow. Read Robert Cialdini, another very important psychologist. Wrote seminal work. Influence is his first big book, I think, etc. And there's several others out there. I'll cover that in later streams, though. Manama, Bahrain, by way of Brooklyn, New York. Very cool. Nice. Hey, I just got here and I'm interested in being a developer, but it scares me a little since there's a lot to learn. I like the idea of web development, also apps. What do you recommend? Hello, Nathan. How are you? Yeah, the software development world, it's a vast thing, right? There's so much out there. So let me give you a few realities, little reality checks. Number one, there's no developer in the world who knows more than 3 to 4%, if that much, of what's going on out there. So you don't have to learn it all, first of all. Next thing, you're going to see a lot of the technologies are just competing solutions. It's kind of like there's Porsche, there's Audi, there's Ferrari, there's Lamborghini, there's Toyota. You know, they're all cars, right? And they're all doing the same thing pretty much, but they have variations in terms of how they perform and so forth. Same thing with all these technologies. A lot of them are competing. So Java is competing with C#, which is competing with Python, which is competing with PHP in certain regards, is competing, so on and so forth. So try not to be intimidated by the array of technologies that are out there, because a lot of it is just repetition, variations on a similar theme, if you will. Your choice of web development, I think, is a top choice. Anybody who knows my channel knows this is what I recommend, because it gives you the broadest range of job and business opportunities is by learning the web stack. So 100% learn the web stack. You should check below, check out my courses. No risk, money back guarantee. So, yeah, Ritz. It's Ritz crackers or Stef crack. I can't control this stuff. If this stuff was expensive, I would be on Skid Row eating boxes of Ritz crackers. So I only buy a box like this once every month or two. Because I can't stop myself. My team is rewriting project from Laravel to Go. Oh, very cool. Should I learn Go along with them or look for another job? Well, if you like working there, Mr. D. Cobra, if you like working there, I would just learn Go. Shouldn't be difficult for you. If you don't like working there, or you think you can get a better job elsewhere, then get a job elsewhere. Sir, how many max hours a day I can code keeping health in mind? I say 3 to 4 hours, a typical day of intense coding, and then do more relaxing stuff. When you are coding intensely, I say get up every hour, do a little 10-minute walk or something, clear the mind a little bit. And you don't want to get into coder burnout. That's what I want you to avoid by that schedule. That being said, there will be times where you're going to have to do some long hours, but after you do some very long hours, you should take some breaks. You got to balance your life in terms of everything that you do. Do you like peanut butter Ritz or just the original? I just eat the original. I'm addicted to cheese. The thing I'm most addicted to is something called bâtonnet fromage. They call it little cheese sticks. That's the English translation. They're kind of deep fried cheese sticks. That is like terrible. It's terrible. It's so tasty. It's unbelievable. Terrible for you. Hey, Stefan, London, UK, watching. Hey, welcome to the stream, dude. From the Philippines. Very cool. I did a lot of a Kali and Eskrima back in the day. So that's a Filipino martial art. I thought you were addicted to cheese. Well, that's what Ritz are. It's cheese. It's got to be deep fried, processed, cheap cheese. I don't like high quality cheese. I only like the cheap cheese. Ritz intervention is needed. Yes, that's true. Hi, Stefan. How does a student manage time between working on a master's thesis and building own website world project, or building the website after graduation? Thanks. Well, you could start working on it. Like you could say, you can apply a little, just a little scheduling, as you will. Maybe you say every day I do 20 minutes on the project. Every 2 days I'll sit down and do a half an hour on my personal project. If you even do that, and you do that every other day, you're going to start moving the project forward. There's always a certain level of inertia when you're starting a new project, especially if it's a business or something. So you want to just get the ball rolling, even ever so slowly, like a half an hour every other day. That's what I recommend. Assembler, there you go. Hi, Steph. Is there a shortage of quality developers? There is. Everybody I know who has companies that are hiring, they're having trouble finding good developers. I've never had too much trouble personally. I seem to have, I'm like one of those pigs who find truffles. I can find good developers pretty quickly. I think it's in the nose. But my hiring requirements were, I didn't have to hire 20 guys, so that may be part of the reason why it was easy for me to find good people so far, anyway. So yeah, there's what's up, Steph? Hope you're doing good. I'm doing fantastic. Hope you're doing good. What do you recommend after learning HTML, CSS, and JS? Should I learn PHP or Node? Depends what your goals are. Look around your local job market, see what the demand is like. Do you want to work for a company? Do you want to work on smaller projects, on larger projects? These are questions you should ask. If you want to go freelance, it's definitely PHP. Although you could do it with Node as well. So I hope that helps. How are we doing for time? 30 minutes, not bad. As a C developer, is Rust worth learning, and have you done anything in Rust? I am not somebody who's worked with Rust, but I can tell you a good friend of mine who's a highly experienced C++ coder, he much prefers Rust. So take that for what it's worth. Sorry, Pablo Pasin Masa. Sorry for my bad English. I'm trying my best. Greetings from Argentina. I know, English is fine, dude. English is fine. All right, so we've had a few people join the Discord. If you're wondering, where is that thing? Epoch phone? Yeah, so I have a Discord channel. I started about 6 days ago, I guess now. We have over 700 members, so we've had a few people join in the last few minutes. So I invite you, link is below. I invite you to join the Discord. There'll be some, I'm still working out the details, I'm a Discord noob, but we got all kinds of different areas: development talk, career advice, Lizard Wizard, psych training, and there'll be more, the classic lounge. And we're going to have some, we have voice channels. We have a live presentation channel called The Stage here. So we're going to be doing a bunch of different things there. In time. So I invite you to join. Links below. All right, what's I'm a Stef with Stefan. There you go. He's a very helpful resource. All right. Resource, I think he said. Thanks. What language would one learn to contribute to a Linux distro? I would imagine is C or C++. I'm primarily focused on becoming a successful freelancer. Being a Linux nut, though, I think I would be good to contribute. Yeah, I think it would be C, C++. If you want to go freelance, your opportunity is probably going to be in web or mobile development. So those are things I would concentrate on. Let's see. Can you explain why an employer needs to make 2x what he pays you on your work? It's because the cost. He's got to pay. A lot of times they got to pay all these government insurances, unemployment. They got to pay for the building. They got to account for cost of doing business, like computers, electricity, location. It comes out to that basically. I figured this out 200 years ago, that you need to make at least double. Yeah. How many languages do you speak? I speak 3 languages. English, Français, and I speak lizard. But I can't speak lizard publicly because it's not allowed. Hey, it's high season. If you want to learn about social networking, these are the people to go see, High Season Co. And beer. They're good with the beer. Stef, my man, how are you, Hamza? I'm good. I hope you're good. Let's see. Should I learn front end or back end first for getting a job? Well, if you're going to learn back end, you have to learn front end by definition. You have to learn front end. So if you're a beginner, I'm gonna high season. I'm gonna show you my little technique here. All right, here we go. If you're learning a back end, or if you want to get into it, if you don't want to do my courses, you like to read, here's my book. Check out my book. It's on Amazon. That's where you have to start. Ultimately, you're going to get more jobs if you do full stack or back end, more high paying jobs, I think, but you have to learn the front end first anyway. So there you go. Woohoo, comment of the evening. Exactly. Ahoy, how are you? You're the best. Good to always see you. Hey, thanks, Francis, for coming to the stream. All right, how many people are joining the Discord now? All right, we got more and more people joining Discord. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, I'm promoting the Discord because so we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, I guess. Yeah, so say hello to. It's a good community because people were asking me to do this for the longest time, well, for a few weeks. So I figure you can interact with each other without having to have a live stream going. So that's cool. Check it out. All right, let's go on. What else? Hey, Stef, do you think Python is good for doing data analytics in sports? Yes. Do you need much math in this? I don't know. It depends how deep you want to go with all that. I couldn't say off the top of my head. Oh, why is this dark here? Okay, hold on. You're going to see the magic. All right, let's go. There you go. If you're doing video work, it's all about lighting. Lighting is everything. All right, so let's... there we go. That's better. Bill Gates makes a lot of interesting comments. That's it. I have been studying programming for many years, although I have never worked directly. Well, your English is very, very good, by the way, Pablo. I learned and had a job where I used a lot of COBOL. Is that language with possibilities in Canada? Yeah, people are still using COBOL. If people don't know, COBOL has been around for about 200 years, and it's used on mainframes. So a lot of big banks still use COBOL. There's not many COBOL programmers, and they have huge code bases that they don't want to update. So there could be some good opportunities for you there. What's the best for being an entrepreneur or creating a SaaS, web dev or mobile? Web dev, 100%. Most of the time. Although mobile can help. It depends. But most of the time, I'd say it'd be web dev. What do you think about Rust? Does it beat C, C++ as a general purpose programming language? According to my C++ buddy, yes. There you go. Shad. All right, you let us know. I pursued one of the stupid degrees. That said, I did a couple of semesters in computer science where I should have stayed. I have already learned more from you. Well, I appreciate that, Hunter. Thanks for letting me know. Glad to hear it. Yeah, I tried to... yes, I'm a woman. Ma'am works. All right, cool. Thanks for clarifying. Haley. Well, Haley is a woman's name. My apologies. Too many Ritz. Ritz is... The cheese is slowing down my synaptic functions. Do you know about ClojureScript? I have not used it. Sorry. I absolutely love this language, and I've been learning it. Any tips on how to be successful with lesser-known languages? Well, you're going to have to start reaching out into the Clojure communities. I'm sure there are some out there online. And start talking to them, making contacts, and so forth. Maybe if there's any open source Clojure projects that you can get yourself involved with, do that. If there's maybe some Clojure commercial projects, they'd probably be looking for a good developer. So yeah, you have to start networking with other Clojure people. I'm glad you found a technology that you like. That's always very important. Lesson I learned ages ago from somebody. He told me, better to do what you like and make less money than do something you hate for more money. So do what you like. Find what you like. Spend more time, a little more time, figuring out what you like. The great thing about software development is that there's always different types of software development that you can do. You know, C++ coding is very different from JavaScript coding, as an example. There's a link below to a free webinar that will teach you the differences between C++ and Java and C# and PHP and Python, the types of jobs you'd get with these languages, and the type of work you would be doing. So the type of companies you'd be working for. So very cool. Check that out. I usually show the page, but you can just look below. The link is below. It's the 29-minute webinar. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so yeah, we're making progress with the Discord. We've got a bunch of people that joined. Very cool. Thanks for joining, everybody. Good stuff. Again, it's just for you guys, a good way to keep in touch with other developers and up-and-coming developers and so on, without me having to be online. All right, okay. What are your thoughts on OOP versus functional programming? I'm not very knowledgeable vis-a-vis functional programming. I haven't done much. I would have to look at it. OOP is still by far and away the standard method of software development. I don't see functional programming replacing OOP, but I do see functional programming having its place. I think it's one of those technologies that's niche, meaning it will be used in certain applications for sure. Try it out, see what the job opportunity is like. See if you like functional programming versus OOP, and just take it from there. Likely you probably do a bit of both in your career, but I think you'll find a lot more OOP jobs in the end. Hey dude, I need advice on a file server. I need to push out 30 terabytes a month. Wow, okay, that's a lot. Should I go with Google Drive plan or a dedicated server? I only need to push out files and it runs on a WordPress site. And what do you do with these files once you push them out? Are they for backup or are they for sharing? That's number one. Number two, you got to look at the price. Like, how much does it cost to host 30 terabytes on Google, a Google Drive versus some sort of VPS? You know, you may want to check out DigitalOcean. You can quickly set up virtual drives that have very minimal functionality for relatively inexpensive. So that's what I would do. I would check into those issues. The thing about using a true VPS is that you have a lot more options afterwards in terms of what you could do. Whereas Google Drive, you're limited to that infrastructure. Whereas if you use DigitalOcean as an example, or an AWS drive or something, or an Azure drive or something, you could, in theory, develop a whole application around those data drops if that ever came about. Lizard Wizard, yeah, check it out. That's my psychology course. Very advanced, very practical. Are you curious about cryptocurrency adoption in the future months, e.g. Dogecoin? Well, I think Dogecoin is very much a speculative thing. I wish I would have bought into it in January. I heard about it and I just went, meh, it's up like 10,000%. You know, I would have put like $5,000 in there. I would have been pretty happy if I did. But anyway, but I think that crypto technology, NFT, that kind of stuff, I think it's starting to come of age in terms of some applications. So I think you'll start seeing more and more job opportunities in that space. I'm hardly an expert in it though. So that's just from looking from the outside. Hey Stefan, I just wanted to say hello. Finally managed to catch one of your streams. I'm a PHP dev from Southeast England. Very cool. I was wondering, what is the best way to learn design patterns? I would buy a good book on design patterns. I have a link to one below from O'Reilly. O'Reilly's generally very good with their books. And then I would just read the book and start applying the design patterns to your own work, and watch them unfold. When you start applying design patterns, you're going to find that it's going to help you. Of course, it's going to help you better organize your projects, and you're going to start seeing it live, if you will. You're going to start seeing how the proper application of design patterns is going to have beneficial effects in terms of your software development cycles. And as you implement basic design patterns, and you're probably doing a few already, you just don't know it, right? Like if you're doing web apps, chances are you're doing MVC, right? So that's just probably the most common design pattern out there. So but there's a lot of design patterns. I typically, in my career when I was actively coding, I would just use a handful all the time. I would use MVC, iterator. I would use servlet filters. We call dependency injection on the object level. I use facade a lot, decorators. There's others, but those are things I use, especially MVC and dependency injection. I use that quite a bit. Anyhow. What is your opinion on the future of crypto to be used instead of fiat money? I don't think the governments will allow a currency outside of their control to take over for most countries. I think maybe smaller countries might, where the currency is very unstable. But I think for larger companies, any Western nations, any of the big Asian nations, any bigger nations, I don't think the governments would allow it, simply because currency is a way for them to control the economy and control even political outcomes to a certain extent. So they're not going to let that go away. Nice to see you, man. Thanks for joining the stream. What were you developing 100 years ago? I was working on an application for horse and buggy guys, so they can keep track of the horseshoes. How often how often they need to change those horseshoes. I had developed an iOS app, but unfortunately nobody had any iPhones back then, so I was a little ahead of my time. Facebook support behind Rust, and Amazon just released a Rust SDK. Do you think in 5 years Rust will replace C++ and C++ become legacy only? That's a good point. My good buddy, who is a very advanced C++ coder, he hates writing C++, and he's very critical of it, even though he writes it almost every day. And he said he would, yes, he would be a proponent of that. He said he would not do anything new in C++, but because of hardware limitations, legacy application development that he's involved with, he has to do C++. That's his opinion. I don't have a direct opinion because I haven't worked with Rust or C++ for that matter, except for doing some basic stuff. So, but that would be a good guess. But C++ is not going anywhere, if that's what you're thinking. I appreciate that. What do you think about classic academic computer science books like Structures and Interpretation of Computer Programs? Yeah, you got to be careful. I've read stuff like that a long time ago, and they can help in a very macro way, if you will. But I would spend more time on modern stuff like design patterns and so on. And refactoring, rewiring your brain. You're doing the lizard wizard. All right, let's see how we're doing with our Discord server. All right, so Discord, we're getting all these people joined just recently. That's pretty cool. Welcome to the server. Link is below. It's free. Just join. We have over 700 members now. And we got all these different rooms, development talk, coding help, coding news. I just started this server like 5 days ago, maybe 6, something like that. And we already have over 700 members. And I'm a Discord noob, so I'm going to be adding to it as time goes by. So I invite you to definitely join the Discord below. What was your first business? My first business was a weird business. My first business was water purification products, ionic exchange resins, carbon filters, charcoal, as some people call it, synthetic ion exchange resins, and natural. I dealt in frozen fish food. So I'd import frozen fish food from manufacturers, if you will, and I would sell this to pet stores and private breeders. I had, what else did I have? I had hybrid bacterial strains that accelerated the nitrogen cycle. The nitrogen cycle, it takes about 30 days normally to process. The nitrogen cycle is the biological cycle where waste product is broken down in water. Anyway, so I had these hybrid bacterial strains I did in 24 hours to speed up the process, which is very important in the pet industry. Anyway, all that kind of good stuff. It was a weird business. And I would import rare fish from all over the world for zoos, public aquariums, private collectors, pet stores. I dealt on a regular basis with Zaire, Burundi, Tanzania, Brazil, Peru, sometimes Colombia, and different parts of Asia as well. So that was a long time ago. Hey, I'm in college and I find myself wanting to learn many languages at the same time. I've been there, dude. I've been there. And now at my internship, I have to learn even more. Is this beneficial or self-destructive? Well, when you try to learn many things at the same time, fortunately with programming languages, there's a lot of overlap in terms of the basic concepts and principles. So for example, object-oriented programming principles are pretty much identical or nearly identical across many different languages. The syntax looks different. There are nuanced differences in terms of whether one OO implementation, one object-oriented implementation will be slightly different from others. So Python will do things a little bit differently than PHP in terms of OOP. But, as an example, it's like maybe 90% the same. So you got that. So if you would say you're learning a little Python, then you jump to PHP, then you jump to JavaScript, then you jump to Java. Yes, you're going to slow down your progress to a certain extent, but at the same time, there's going to be some stuff that you've learned in JavaScript will be transferable over to Java, as an example. What I would suggest that you do is you pick one language that's most useful to you now and learn it to a productive level. So you have that under your belt. And then from there, you can start jumping around different languages. Because if you do it that way, where you get good at one, then the rest what you'll learn in in record time. I had the same exact experience when I was doing martial arts. There was once upon a time, I was about 18 years old or younger, 17 maybe, and I was training in several styles at the same time. And, Mondays and Wednesdays, I was doing Olympic wrestling. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I was doing something called Kajukenbo, Hawaiian style, kind of Kempo derivative. And then on the weekends, I would do Wing Chun with a Wing Chun teacher. And then I'd rotate that third one. Sometimes I'd jump in, did a bit of Aikido, then some Judo, et cetera, et cetera. You get the idea. And one day, one of my teachers said to me, Stef, you've been training for several years. At that point, I've been training for whatever. I started training when I was 10. He said, you're good. But he said, you're not at the highest level. You're not ever at the high level that you should be because you've scattered your attention too broad. So he said, what you should do is pick one, train in that, and then it will bring up your game across all the different styles. And he was right. So I picked one. I spent a good 2 or 3 years solid on that one, mostly 95% of my effort on that one, and it picked up my whole game across the board, all the different styles. So take that, see how that applies to coding. Can you fill me in on Discord? What is it? Oh, you're a noob like me with that. Discord is that must be a joke. You know what Discord is. All right. Some third-party controllers are very expensive, but can be used for many projects and clients. How do you price the cost for that into quotes for projects? Well, that's a good third-party controls. I think you mean software that you would license. Well, you have to decide if you're paying for it, and then you want to roll that into the cost, then you got to make a markup on that, because in theory you're floating the money, right? And there's a risk. If on the other hand you see your client and you want to not have any risk in terms of the cost associated with purchasing this control, then you would say, well, here's part of your cost, you pay, right? For example, on a very simple very simple parallel, people ask me, who pays for hosting if you're developing a website for somebody? I always suggest, unless you want to get into the hosting business, just have the client deal directly with the hosting provider. So you don't have, there's all these reasons to do, but one of the reasons, you just don't want to be entangled into that. So I hope that answers your question. How are we doing for time? Okay, we're going to be finishing up on an hour. Skid Row, Ritz, that's it. Hillary, how are you? Hey, Stef, I wasn't crazy about jobs I had in the past as a beginner coder. I like to create work on websites geared towards my interests, like boxing, for example. Good idea. Why not? You can maybe find an employer who does that, or maybe you can start freelancing. The key is you keep refining your skills. You keep reaching out to different companies, different perspective, maybe freelance clients you could build up, and you got to feel your way through it. And if you keep upping your skills, keep upping your demo website, you keep refining and use good money management skills so you're not ever pressured. That's why I recommend on this YouTube channel, just look up FU Money. And you watch that video, recorded that about 4 years ago. And yeah, you don't let it scare you. I grew my hair out back then, so don't get scared when you find that video. But when you do, you'll understand the FU Money principles, which is very important, especially with somebody in your situation now, Hillary, or somebody looking to start their career. You want to basically take away that variable of money fears so that you can much more easily flow into your career long term. What is your favorite Ruby book? The one I've never read. No. There's one I had him. I did a joke. What was the book it was called? It was the book that everybody bought on Ruby. I forget what it was called now, all of a sudden. Is starting a software development agency a good choice? I saved a good amount of money. What are the chances of success if I were to start one? The hardest part about starting a software development agency, I assume you're talking about a jobber site where you take on projects and you build projects for various companies. So it's kind of like an extension of freelancing where you start hiring other developers around you. The hardest part about that is not necessarily getting the clients, although there's some difficulty there in the beginning. The hardest part is going to be managing the production so that you can make money. I can tell you, Studioweb, my SaaS website, which is an educational platform, schools use it all over North America and, in fact, many parts of the world. Prior to that, in the 90s, it was a web design studio, Studioweb. Anyhow, you can see, if you look up, you can see I registered that domain in 1998. So, one of my earlier domains. Anyhow, what I figured out back in the day is that it takes 10 people working for you full-time before the money you make from them will match the salary you would make working solo as a freelancer. So yeah, so you want to slowly get into it. You don't want to, if you have a full-time job now, maybe start setting up the guts or the bones or the basic framework for your software development agency. So the website, make sure it's refined. Start reaching out on social, maybe look for some small gigs, small jobs. And when you find that the time requirements for your new business is too much, that you cannot do it, then you quit your current job. But you don't want to cut yourself off of income, because there's always this inertia period with software development, any business. Although you may hit clients right away depending on your circumstances. I don't know. So I always suggest to people, when you go into business, you want to transition into it so that you have less pressure. Less pressure means you can make better decisions that will be better long term. I hope that helps. All right, let's see what's going on here. So the Discord is starting to, we're starting to get some action here. Don't switch. How are we doing here? So the Discord is not doing bad. So how many people? All these people have joined so far, so it's good. Yeah, check it out. All right, how are we doing? All right, I'm going to be wrapping this up. Everybody, thanks for joining. It's been an hour. Let me scroll down. Stef, how could I best leverage my Java-specific skill sets? Well, start looking around, see if there's any Java. I don't know if you'd find freelance jobs as a Java developer, although it's possible. You might find more contract work. Freelance, usually the web is king for that. And beer, that's too. Laugh out loud. Well, you sure saw I was drinking a nice IPA, hibiscus IPA yesterday. Yeah, High Season Co. They're good for beer too. BAOS. They're good. Good beer vlog. They're the masters of beer. Yeah, they messed me up pretty bad a few years ago too. Reptilian language. Yes, lizard wizard language. Links below. Can you please suggest which is the better option out of masters in computer science or software development job? It depends on your goals, man. Depends on your goals. Are you paying for this schooling? Is it going to put you into debt? If it is, then I would be reluctant. If it isn't, and you want to maybe get a job working for very large corporations, so forth, maybe that master's could help. Depends. Is that 2 cams? Yes, it is. Cam number 2. Watch this. Yeah, my friends at High Season, they're vloggers too. So hold on, we're gonna get to it. Boom! Isn't that pretty cool? All right, that's it. So I find this a lot easier. Let's go like this, different books, etc., etc. Nighttime view, people want to see. All right, there you go. Good book to get. So that's done with my iPhone and a piece of software. Not bad. All right. Good morning, Ancient Baba. Welcome to the stream. All right. Going to chat you direct. You're too popular here. Laugh aloud. This isn't Ecamm anymore, right? No, this is Ecamm. This is Ecamm. With a little spice on it. Off topic, I'm primarily a guitar player myself. For drums, I like DW and Ludwig. What is your preferred drum brand? I used, my drum kit was a Fibes drum kit, Fibes. And when I bought this place here, which is a building, they wouldn't appreciate me playing the drums here. So and my neighbor down below is actually a good friend of mine. He requested that I get rid of my drum kit since he lived under me. So Fibes, I played the Fibes drum kit. I had a good jazz Fibes drum kit. I had that for 15 years. I kind of regret selling it, in all honesty. I should have bought a bigger house to put my Fibes kit in. That's what I should have done. One of the reasons why I like to be a developer is because at the moment I do construction and it takes a toll on me mentally and physically. I need peace to be able to think and express myself. Yeah, I can totally understand that, Nathan, very much so. So what I suggest, I'll shamelessly take my web dev course. It's very inexpensive and it's money back guarantee. Just read the reviews about me. I think you'll be very happy with it. It's a unique program on the web because it's my own platform. It's interactive, video-based, instant quizzing, instant help, scoring, gamification, certification options, etc. It's very, very cool. It will make learning to code really easy. So check it out. Stef, as a freelancer, did you use recruiters to help you find work projects? Did you have any tips, suggestions, websites to go on? No, the first few projects are the hardest to get. Put up a really good website and then reach out to local businesses. I talk about that. Check out my previous streams. Once you've done a couple of projects, you're going to see word of mouth will start kicking in, and then next thing you know, you're going to have all kinds of work. You won't know what to do with it. What type of web dev work does Fortune 500 companies do? Typically, it's going to be either Java or C#.NET, although I'm sure some are using other technologies as well. It depends. Like, big companies like YouTube is Python. Twitter, I think they used to use Ruby, and they may still do, I don't know. Facebook, PHP. But typically, larger organizations are going to be they're going to be very heavily invested in Java or .NET technologies. I'm learning .NET Core for 5 months, but a friend of mine told me to switch to Java and learn Java Spring because the market is better. What are your opinions? Louise, I would just look at the job opportunities where you happen to live and see what that tells you. Just go to some sites, search for job opportunities, and you will find your best solution there, because different parts of the world have different favorite languages. So there you go. Reality Check TV. I love working with CSS, but I'm having a hard time getting over the hump with JavaScript. Will an employer take a chance with someone who's only good at HTML, CSS, and Git? Well, it depends what you got to do. Like, if you're gonna, if you're having trouble with JavaScript, take my JavaScript course. It's like buying me a couple coffees. If it doesn't work for you, just get your money back from me. I don't want you to pay unless you learn. I think you will learn. The biggest problem I see out there is not that the students are not capable of learning these things, is that so many courses are put out by people who don't know how to teach. Teaching is a skill. I come from a family of teachers. My father's a teacher. 15 people in my immediate family are teachers. So there's my advice. Hey, how are you? I don't know. Hope everything is good with you. I used your car analogy with my programming students in the UDM class. Who cares what language you should learn first? First choosing which car to drive, just learn to drive already. Yeah, very cool. How did they respond? Did they like the analogy? Let me know. Stefan, do you like Dogecoin? I don't have. When are you coming to Florida? I've got 169 APAs with your name on it. 169. Okay, I'm out of here. Be sure to have the stone crab and the key lime pie ready as well. I don't know. I might be able to come down because I've been working on my. I tore up my kitchen, and I've been working to get the contractors in. So I'm very close now. I pulled the trigger on the cabinets, and I just got to get my general guy in here. So that's been holding me back. That's one of the main things. Just I picked out my surface finally, and so I'm quite happy. I looked at, there could be hundreds of surfaces, so I'm very happy that I finally got that solved. Yeah. So we'll see. Trust me, if I don't go this time around, I'll be down in November 100%. 100%. I have a few friends who live down there, and some family too who are there in the winter. So, Steph, I'm homeless, and I've been trying to learn how to code over last year. Being homeless, my resources are limited. No one wants to sit and help me. I want to get a job out of this tent. Send me an email at stefan@studioweb.com. Send me an email at stefan@studioweb.com, and we'll see if we can help you out. Okay? If you weren't a dev, what would you have done instead? Well, for me, development was a means to an end. I'm much more of an entrepreneur. I say much more. I'm an entrepreneur / dev. Because I'm an entrepreneur first. So I would have done other types of businesses. I just look at development skills as they're just tools, man. They're just tools, like language and so on. You're down with MVC. Yeah, I think MVC is the way to go. Back in the 90s, when MVC started becoming popular, the Smalltalk language, I think, was the first programming language, if you will, first programming language or group rather, that sort of introduced the MVC architecture. And back in the day, we used to have single-paged development processes, and they used to call that Model 1. And that lost favor because it could lead to a lot of messy code. And Model 2 replaced it, which is MVC. And yeah, there you go. I need to run a content site, 150 gig, that's a lot of files, with around 30 terabytes of traffic among Google Drive's dedicated server. Well, if you got to run the traffic, you got to be Google Drive. They may cut you off with all the downloads, so I probably want to go with a dedicated server. I could use some direction. Yeah, just email me and I'll help you out with that. We'll be able to get you going. Hey, Stefan. New to the channel, hope this message finds you well. I'm currently enrolled in a bootcamp and I am taking courses on Udemy on my own. I have a BS in English and an okay work history. Where's part 2? All right, we'll get to it. By okay, I mean operations specialist and a bit of legal experience. Would love to hear what you think of my chances of landing a job. Would be even rough estimates. Thank you. I think, Richard, given your background and the fact that clearly you're able to complete things, your chances are 100%. So all you have to do is just keep working diligently towards your goals, and you should reach them. If you start having trouble with your sources of knowledge, I invite you to take a look at my courses. My stuff is famous, in fact, for being really easy to understand. If you find yourself having trouble with the courses you're currently working on, check that out. Crypto is way too volatile to be a currency. Yeah, I don't see it as a currency. I see blockchain though as an interesting technology that does have application. All right. What is your ration? Okay. All right. OOP in French is POO. Really? Is that what they say? I don't. Nah. Grape juice is best. Okay, what's going on? I'm gonna close off the stream because I've been doing this for well over an hour. Thanks for joining. I'm gonna find one or two last questions. All right, there we go. Nothing is compelling to me at this point. I will get to your questions next time. Been talking straight for an hour. Welcome to. Thanks for joining the stream. Links below to all kinds of interesting content, free and otherwise. Check out my my Discord server below. Don't switch. Why is it doing that? I don't know. There we go. How many people we got? So we have a bunch of people who joined today. It's pretty good. So it's only about a week old, less than a week old, and we have over well over 700 people now, getting close to 800. So thanks for joining the stream, and we'll talk soon. I'll leave you with my ASMR boat video. Ciao, ciao.